Having Barbara here and seeing all of you, it feels like a blast from the past. It feels like we've come home in some way, completed the circle. So good to see you all here. I have a few announcements for you, but let's wait until, the guys in the back stop chattering, perhaps. Love you, Gare. All right, so first let me do my welcome, and then we'll do announcements. I have told you this before, but I was thinking of what to do for a welcome, and this popped up, and I thought I've got to tell you again. I once read a New York Times Magazine column called Tip, which gives random and quirky advice. You've heard some of it here. And they did a piece about how to surf a crowd. The musician interviewed Peaches advises you have to let the fear go. Hi, Nancy. Nice to see you, darling. At some point in every show, she steps off the stage and into the audience. Sometimes she's upright, walking into people's upstretched arms. Other times she lies back and the crowd passes her around the room. She says, you must trust the throng, even knowing that things can go awry. The surfer and the surfed share the same adrenaline. It's the ultimate way to connect, she says, and this is the part I just love so much. Besides imagining her being passed around a crowd, I really want to try this. Maybe we could all come forward and just... So she says one night after a show, she had a crowd surfing adventure. Peaches noticed that her body was covered in little fingerprints. Isn't that dear? Welcome to another Sunday, where we notice the fingerprints we leave on each other's lives and the ones we carry too as we accompany one another through this particular crowd surfing. Welcome to another Sunday of exploration and spiritual crowd surfing. Welcome. And we have a few announcements today. The microphones will not amplify the room, blessedly, because I think it's a good amplification here, but the microphones do amplify for the Zoom folks on Zoom. So if you do announcement from this mic or a poem from this mic, don't worry about it. You won't hear it in the room, but the people on Zoom will hear you, and nor do you have to go right up into it. These mics are pretty sensitive. And we have another announcement. Kat, do you want to come up? That I know about, anyway.
I actually have two announcements, but both of them are about groups and activities that are returning after taking a break for the summer. First of all, the crafting group has resumed on Saturday mornings from 10 to noon. We are currently meeting in the activities room, but we sometimes move around to different locations. So if you are interested in joining us, which we would love, and you can do any kind of craft you like or just come and hang out with us, just email me. I'm not sure if my email is in this, but it's definitely like on different printed material and on the website. Email me and I'll put you on the list, and I send out a reminder, usually Saturday mornings or Fridays if I remember. So the second one is that the Saturday socials, it's in your announcements in the order of service, but it's actually a misprint. We're switching to the first and third Saturdays of the month, and the kickoff this year is going to be November 1st with a spaghetti supper at 6 o'clock, followed by games at 7. So please come to either or both. We'll get an announcement out in the e-blast, but I just wanted to let you know about that as well.
Spaghetti together, yay! Love that idea. Thank you, Kat. Any other announcements today? And Deirdre, why can't people sit in the back there?
Because I can't reach the camera to change the angle.
Aha, okay.
Until we move it up.
Okay, thanks, Deirdre. Thanks so much. Any other announcements today from anyone? Hi, Allison. Hi. All right, then. my dears. Polly, would you please come up and light the chalice? Thank you. And please join her in saying the words printed in your order of service. Here you go, that little yellow.
Got it. Okay. Come on, buddy.
With
This flame, we renew our commitment to justice, peace, and compassion.
And we'll do it again. Keep going, and then I'll get it.
Oh, well, you are on, my dear. We're just going to watch you fumble with the chalice, but don't be nervous.
I'm not, it's just a very tiny little thing.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Please rise now in body or in spirit for the singing of our affirmation. From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every tongue. And Miss Cinda, you can just stay standing, my dear, and come on up for your phone. Just Cinda will stay standing. Thank you for listening to me so carefully, though. Cinda has a poem for us, Blessings for the Longest Night.
New for me. Blessings for the Longest Night, Jan Richardson. All throughout these months, as shadows have lengthened, this blessing has been gathering itself, making ready, preparing for this night. It has practiced walking in the dark, traveling with its eyes closed, feeling its way by memory, by touch, by the pull of the moon, even as it wanes. So believe me when I tell you, this blessing will reach you. Even if you have not light enough to read it, it will find you even though you cannot see it coming. You will know the moment of its arriving. By your release of the breath you have held so long, a loosening of the clenching of your hands, of the clutch around your heart, a thinning of the darkness that has drawn itself around you. This blessing does not mean to take the night away, but it knows its hidden roads, knows the resting spots along the path, knows what it means to travel in the company of a friend. So when this blessing comes, take its hand, get up, set out on the road you cannot see. This is the night when you can trust that any direction you will go, you will be walking towards the dawn.
Thank you, Cinda. And just as a reminder, we're doing 3 people can sit in these seats if you have trouble seating people. And there's some more seats in this back row. Oh, no, that back row. So you can have 2 more people in these seats, my dears, just so you know. Yeah. Okay. Hymn, we have a hymn. Let us stand up and enter and rejoice. 361. choir mic, and someone phoned me and said, we couldn't hear the music, but we knew the beat because you were dancing to it. All right, my dears, let's take a moment now and greet one another in fellowship.
Did they mute us all? Hello.
Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning,
Morning,
everybody.
Beautiful day.
I feel like we lost. Oh, I see Deirdre. There she is. She's got the logo up.
Join us on the pulpit, and we will enjoy listening. Thank you, Leah.
Do the kids get to come up?
If you have. You want to move back, Leah, so you can sit right? I think it'll catch you. You can sit where you always sit, my love. Yeah, I'll just move this over a little bit. And I think we'll hear you.
You're real. I wondered, like.
Yeah, they're from Jerry's memorial yesterday.
Okay, the story today is the whales. Okay.
Peter especially looks very 8-year-old.
Younger than my 4-year-old. So the whales pose a little stick today. In the blackness of the Black Sea, Cynthia Ryland, by the way, famous children's author. In the blackness of the Black Sea, the whales are thinking today, thinking of those things that matter most to them: friends, family, supper, a song they used to know. The whales are thinking about where they are going and how deep are the oceans of the world. Where's the whale? You're a great child. They swim in places with beautiful names. At the Cape of Good Hope, they make a wish. There's a moon. And under the Red Sea, their dreams are in color. Whales love their children, and when they are born, the babies are gently pushed to the top of the water, where they take their first breath and see their first sky and gasp at the loveliness of living. Wow. You. So many whales in the seas, swimming like birds, rolling in the underneath sky. They are gray and right, beluga and sperm, narwhal and fin. They hear everything and carry secrets between them. But a rose is lost on them, for they haven't any sense of smell. No matter, they love songs and touching and can court without flowers. What for? Oh, what they have seen, swimming from one pole to the other. What they have seen. There are not enough poems in the world to tell. Whales do not know how they change people, how they make them better, how they make them kind. Like angels appearing in the sky, whales are proof of God. They are swimming today. They are floating like feathers in a sky.
May the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Please join me now for a moment of meditation. Take a nice deep breath. There's a lot moving around, little quirks and things happening. Just quiet yourself. Be a whale, an angel of the sea, proof of God. Take a nice deep breath. Beloved, great mystery, deep soul, community of hope, lead us toward the waters of surrender and guide us with ease and elegance into this emerald pool. Let these waters flow over us, contain us and hold us up. Let these waters bathe us deep in the simplicity of their coolness, their completeness. And in this luxurious, forgiving waters, soft and rich and clear, may we play, splash and laugh and cry and rest until we can see clearly, until we can see ourselves so clearly that our beauty and self-worth and worthiness shine back to us like silver coins at the bottom of a stream. Let our human holiness shine in the mirrors of this water that has been since the beginning of time, this water that shall always be. Guide us here, beloved, sweet, beloved wholeness. Let lightness grow in our hearts as proof that we are never alone, that we can be seen as we most wish to be seen. Let lightness grow in our minds as proof that we can be known by our love, our effort, our hope, our frailty, our sacred longing, our deep desire to be loved. And by being seen and known so well, so clearly, let us see others with this same grace, sweet beloved. Sweet beloved, grant us this grace. And with minds and hearts of grace, let us see those far and near. Let us see those who sit right beside us with new eyes. Help us see their beauty and frailty and hopes and sacred need to be loved and sweet beloved. Grant us the simple grace to forgive as we wish to be forgiven. Let us see each other, beloved, great mystery, deep soul and mind of life. Let us see each other and know each other as the blessings we have come to be, as the blessings we were born to be. Amen. It is time now for joys and concerns. This is a sacred little ritual in our community, as you know, part of our 7th principle, the interconnected web of all existence of which we are a part, reminding us that our joys and our sorrows live somewhere in all of us. So please, this is your time. If you would, please come up to this microphone so that the Zoomers can hear you. If you have a joy or concern, and we can start with Zoom, Deirdre. And our next hymn is number 18, Wondrous Love. You may stay seated quietly to sing it, or you may stand however the Spirit moves you. A Hajj. Sometimes when Masjid al-Bahir, or Mosque of the Ocean, meets in the Remembrance Garden, I join them. I listen to the teachings of Dr. Qureshi, or Abrar as I call him, and I try to settle in a tradition that is not my own. One sunny summer day this summer, that already seems years ago somehow. Does that happen to you? One season to the next feels like 20 years ago. Abrar talked about the meaning of the Hajj, or the sacred pilgrimage that happens every year in Mecca. And Joanne, these things still work if you need one.
No, that's okay.
Okay, thank you. And the Hajj is the most holiest time for Muslims. In Islam, there are 5 pillars. The first is faith, believing in God and that Muhammad accepted as a man and his last messenger. The second pillar, which happens 5 times a day, is praying facing Mecca, the place of the Hajj. The third is charity. If able, one is required to spend a portion of one's income on those less fortunate. Interest is also considered usury in Islam. It is the personal responsibility of each Muslim to ease the economic hardship of others and to strive towards eliminating hostility and inequality. The fourth is fasting during Ramadan, which brings one closer to the relationship with the poor and with God. And the fifth is the Hajj, the pilgrimage. It is a pilgrimage that occurs during the Islamic month of Dhu al-Hijjah to the holy city of Mecca. This year, that happened in June. Every able-bodied Muslim who has the financial means and ability is to make this pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in their lifetime. Everyone dresses in clothing which consists of 2 white sheets, no jewelry, no hair adornments, 2 white sheets so that everyone is the same. Everyone who approaches Mecca, and therefore God, looks the same, rich or poor. The main rituals of the Hajj include walking 7 times around the Kaaba, a building at the center of Islam's most holy mosque, traveling on foot 7 times between Mount Safa and Mount Marwa, which adds up to a trip of about 2 miles, and you should travel without shoes in the desert, and symbolically throwing stones at the devil in the city of Mina. Islamic teachers say that before such a pilgrimage, one should become self-aware, undergo a kind of self-purification. In Islam, this has a specific process, but I wonder, how would you prepare if you were going on a sacred pilgrimage? And sometimes I wonder if we made a conscious effort to bring ourselves into a state of pure open-heartedness, could even a simple journey become sacred? Maybe we should try to walk into Stop and Shop that way. The first thing that Muslims are asked to do before the Hajj is clear their conscience, to ask for forgiveness of others that they have harmed or transgressed. This reminds me of the Jewish ritual of Yom Kippur, which finished on October 5th. Who do you need to ask forgiveness of? Who have you trespassed against? Who has trespassed against you that you need to forgive? For that too is part of purification. Forgiveness asking and forgiveness granting must go in hand, as Yom Kippur teaches as well. And what else is there? What else must we look at more carefully in ourselves? Arrogance, greed, pride, wrath. Only we can take our own inventory, and we must. These times are too tempting to point fingers, and we love doing it. I was just at a little party and we were pointing all over the place. Some of those fingers need to be pointed, but pointing can make us lazy too. Pointing can keep us from holding up our own mirrors and looking at our own reflection. There is a story in the Bible that I am particularly fond of that initiated the Hajj, a story that both the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians share, a time that dates back to Abraham, who is said to have lived around 1800 BCE. According to the Bible story, Sarah, Abraham's wife, grew jealous of the Egyptian slave Hagar, who was brought to give them a son because Sarah was barren, and this son Hagar was named Ishmael. But Yahweh had promised a son to Sarah, and she was granted their son, Isaac, when she was 90 years old. Tough time to give birth, in my personal opinion, but Sarah wanted Ishmael away, worried that this birth would change Isaac's inheritance because Ishmael was the firstborn. With a heavy heart, Abraham told Hagar and baby Ishmael that they had to go into the desert with only one small satchel of food and water, and left them there, promising that God had told them that he would protect them, and from Ishmael would come a great nation. Sarah walked and walked with Ishmael strapped to her back in the desert. And when the food and water ran out and her son became ill from hunger and thirst, Hagar walked and walked with Ishmael, strapped to her back. And when the son became ill from thirst and hunger, Hagar placed him under a bush so that he would be shaded from the harsh desert sun. And in her suffering, can you imagine for her son's pain, who was wailing, she just started to run from these two hills, the hills of Safa and Marwa, that are now run between on the Hajj. 7 times she ran between those hills that are almost 1,500 feet apart. So that would be 7 trips or 2 miles. She ran and wailed, praying for water, praying for some hope, for some relief, running and wailing and praying. God saw Sarah God saw Hagar And beside Ishmael, who lay crying, he built a spring. A whole spring came up into the desert in this story, and Hagar looked at it, and her wailing stopped, and she and little Ishmael drank from it. And also birds started to come to this spring because there wasn't much water in the desert. And other tribes that were wandering noticed these birds and wondered why they were there. So they came to this spring. And from this collection of people came Islam. And these two hills, now in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia, and the pilgrims run between them 7 times to experience what Hagar experienced. Having no control of the fate of our lives or the lives of the ones we love so much. To experience what wailing to God to go on, to live, to survive, to be spared, feels like in their bodies, in their feet, in this earth, on this, they can't have water and their feet are bare, and they run 7 times between these 2 hills. And they scream during this run, God help me, as Hagar is said to have done. I wish I could experience this. I wish I could go hungry and thirsty and hear the wails of Hagar resonating in my pulse, the wails as she ran between these 2 hills while watching her son suffer so, and believing that God would save them both if only she could purify her heart and her intention well enough. This kind of surrender, this kind of belief that expending oneself so completely, of surrendering so fully and asking with no ego and really no rage, and then to be answered. Can you imagine? I think I wish this more lately in these times of such political, environmental, and pandemic unrest. And now I add the uncertainty of Gary and I leaving to all of you and to our own lives. Yes, a barefoot desert whale sounds just about right for us right now. I imagine all of this desire to know, to be answered, to be saved, really, to have some relief and some hope as a collective wail. I think so many of us are longing to give voice to this wail and to believe that somewhere on the other side of it, there's mercy and grace and hope. Do you hear and feel it too? What would it be if we were to go out screaming together en masse while running on the beach pleading? First they'd say, oh, there go the Unitarians. But then what would it be to say, help me, help my child, my earth, my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, my home, my soul, help me. We are dying of thirst. Here I am. Anytime you're ready, I'm ready for that run on the beach with you. Just here I am. That is the refrain of Abraham, the Jewish father of Islam through Ishmael, and Christianity through Isaac. And of course, he was Jewish, and all 3 faiths were born in this story through him. And I love that there's a place where these faiths that argue and point and tell each other what's better had a common father, a common source, that wail, the belief that there is mercy, that there is hope, that there is grace. Here I am, Abraham says again and again. Remember, he has called to the mountain to slaughter Isaac by God. His son, his remaining son. And he says, here I am. And in this story, Isaac says, Father, if this is what God wants, do it. And he's like 8 years old and he lays his head back and he exposes his neck. There's so many things that happen in that story. But the thing that moves me most is here I am. What would it be for you to say those words to the next person that greets you, needs you, is suffering near you? We all so long to be seen, to have our cries answered with love. But do we remember that to be seen and to love, first we must see and love? Learning how to listen to be still, to be together, to be alone, naming as sacred something, anything. A time, a place, an hour, a day, a journey can be a way to begin to sort out what we need and how we need it, to untangle what we belong to and how we belong to it, to consider how to express our despair and how to lean into the despair of others so that we can be of use. Those questions the Hajj asks and that Yom Kippur asks too. To whom must I ask forgiveness? To whom must I grant forgiveness? What do I need to let go of? Where is love, hope, care, beauty, compassion needed in my own or someone else's life? How might we say, here I am? I mean, really say it, no matter what's next. Nancy had to say it with Jerry suffering terribly and to let him go. I can't imagine this. Others of us have to say, here I am, as our children are suffering and not getting where they need to go. I had to say, here I am to my sister after my nephew and her son died of a drug overdose, and I flew across the country just after my cancer. Here I am. Let's take a Hajj. I'll meet you, wrapped in what is most easy to put on, most simple and true, with an open heart, open to the collective love we share, lifted up and asking, what is needed now? And how can I be present to it? Asking, forgive me for the ways I've erred, promising, here I am. And then looking up and beginning to recognize where here is and who we are here with. Amen, my dear people. Amen. Please join me now for a moment of silence. Oh, Hagar always gets me so wound up. Just imagining her in that desert. I don't know what it is about her, but when I read that story, I just feel so moved to be, just to be. And it is now my privilege to do the call for offering. I think, do you have envelopes in your hymnals? I can't remember. Gary and David, did you get envelopes in the hymnals or no? Okay. Gare, we forgot to put envelopes in the hymnals. It's all right, David. Would you just pass around some baskets? We'll do it the old-fashioned way. I think we have a couple baskets. And so, the offertory I give to you today, the call to offering is be generous. Let here thrive. Let here remain. Let here continue to be a place of healing. Bless you. I've joined the choir today. I'm so excited. And you all have the words to this song. You probably know it from Outlander. And please join in. Oh, Outlander. What is it called? Outlier. Outlier? Yeah. Where have I been? It's not Outlander. It's Outlander. Long the winds blow, All right, is it outlier or outlander? Outlander. See? I'm not so old. Oh, gosh, help us. Hymn 126. Come thou fount of every blessing, please rise in body or in spirit and become a fount of every blessing. 126. Bless you all, dear good people. You are founts of blessings. Live into it. Feel the capacity, the possibility to bless and to be blessed, the wholeness and the hope of it. I love you so much. Bless you. Laura, the whispers, I can still hear, extinguish the, Polly, you must extinguish the chalice. You think after almost 10 years, I get this.
The big one too.
I knew it. I'm going to ask you all the time now, so get ready. Thank you, Polly. While you're playing, Jerry, Barbara, I felt Jerry so present with us today. Something about Well, something about that beautiful man, huh? All right, my dears, we are meeting in the Remembrance Garden. We're all set up for you, chairs and treats, and I hope that you will join us there. We can meet in the activities room as soon as we're in the green again, which I hope is sooner than later. Please join us outside.